Very good evening and warm welcome to our Jnanavardhini session today. And as we all know, it's going to be handled by none other than our own enthusiastic and very active colleague of ours, Dr. Anirban Ghosh. Just to give a very brief about him, we all know him, but still, if somebody is new in the call, Anirban comes he works with BT Group for last 7 years as a DPO, Data Protection Officer for Asia, Middle East, and Africa, including India. He has experience in behavioral security management, cyber security, risk and compliance, trainings, and data protection investigations. He holds CIPPE and various other professional certifications. He has also published lots of articles in Indian and international journals about the concept of human firewall. And as we all know, that today's topic is going to be the life of a data protection officer. And I believe, and I'm sure all of you would agree with me, he is the right candidate to talk about. I'm sure that we'll be sharing lots of professional experiences of his own would be valid to all of us. Thank you very much. And let's listen to Dr. Anirban. Dr. Anirban, floor is yours. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ramesh sir. That was a very extensive and brief introduction. I mean, I would like to just add whatever Ramesh just said, just one line. In a personal life, I'm a father of 4 years old, and what Ramesh didn't tell you is I like collecting stamps. So I'm a philatelist by hobby. So with this, let me go ahead and share my screen. Let me know if you are able to see my screen.
Absolutely. Yes. Very much. Yeah.
Clear. Yeah.
Perfect. I'll just somewhere here. Okay. So before I jump into the topic for the day today, I would like to, on behalf of the FDPPI Award Committee member, I would like to let you all know that we are inaugurating the celebration for International Data Privacy Day today, from today onwards. And this will go on with a series of initiative and other events. But today, what we are going to inaugurate in front of you all is basically we would like to reward every one of not only our members, but each and everyone who are contributing or working with personal data in their day-to-day life. That they don't need to be a professional. They can be a normal public. But yes, as a token of gesture, we would like to spread awareness and award them. So what we have created on behalf of the FDPPI Award Committee is basically a pledge on this occasion of International Data Privacy Day. And this pledge is going to be open from just now onwards. And this pledge will be open till 10th of Feb. Now, what happened after clicking on this link? If I may have Subraidu to share his screen and just give us a quick demo. What happened?
Okay, yeah, I understood that. Share my screen. Yeah. Okay. I am sharing my screen. Okay.
It's visible now.
Is my screen visible?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
So once you click on the link, you will exactly going to land on this page. Yeah. Okay. Over to you, sir.
Okay. So email, name, FTPPA member status, yes. Pledge of data privacy, and the current is this. I hereby take a voluntary pledge to uphold the privacy as a human right. I shall adhere to the requirement of obtaining informed consent. I shall adhere to the principle of minimal and purpose-oriented collection of personal data. I shall take necessary steps to stop using personal information if the purpose. Okay. All of this is there. Yeah. Yes, I undertake the above pledge. Okay. Consent. This page is created by FDPPI. Okay. I agree. Okay. Yeah. Submit.
Yes, please.
Okay. Done, sir.
You're expected to receive an email.
Okay, I'll get an email. Okay.
Okay, rather you get a certificate.
Refresh.
Okay. I hope it's not in the spam folder. No.
All right,
Okay.
we take it.
It's in the transit. It will be coming any moment.
Okay.
Traffic jam.
Yeah,
Yes,
correct. At Silk Board red light, it may be get stuck, sir.
yes. You're right. Yeah, maybe I would suggest Dr. Anirban, we'll come back here. By the time
yeah,
you would have got it,
yeah,
you may proceed.
Yeah, perfect.
Right,
The
Dr. Edison?
I'll stop sharing.
everyone, everyone on the call can try it. The link is there with in your on the chat. So please click on the link and give it a try, and do share with everyone. As I said, this link is going to be open till 10th of Feb. After that, we will be stopping it, but we will keep it open for all these days. So all the best, and do share proudly, because the certificates looks awesome. Okay, that I can guarantee you. Moving on with the next slide. So I decided to choose this topic because after the Digital Data Protection Bill came live in 2022, there is a huge demand, you might say, or expected demand, or everyone is talking about DPO all of a sudden. DPO concept was there. I would not say it's not there. Being a DPO for India, I'm working for last more than 12 months now. On this role. So the DPO concept was here, but not that much in India, as we all are aware of. So this is the right time to share a couple of my personal view, personal experience, and my knowledge, which I have gathered speaking to other colleagues of mine who are other DPOs in other organizations. So whatever I'm going to share here today is my personal learning. This is not at all linked with with any of my professional life or any of my organization, and this is purely my own experience. What I would quickly like to do here is, give me a second, let me see if I can share my audio here.
Dr. Anirban, sorry to interrupt, really to share with you, I got the certificate already.
Okay, perfect. So
Yeah.
please share it after this slide with everyone.
Sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
perfect.
Absolutely. I'll keep it open. Thank you.
Please. Okay, so what I would like to do is I would like to first of all talk about the functions. What are the functions of a data protection officer is actually work with, or what is exactly they do on a day-to-day life, and then I would like to talk about something on what you actually need to go ahead and be a data protection officer. So first of all, what I would like to run here is a small video which will give you a glimpse of data protection officer function. I'm not sure if the audio is going to work here or not. I don't know how to share it, but let's play it. This is a nice video which I come across from SIA partners in the YouTube, and this brilliantly give a very high level overview of what is a DPO and when to contact DPO in a nutshell. But I have prepared something in a bit detail. Get rid of it. Give me a second. Okay, makes sense. So these are basically the responsibilities of a DPO, if you are looking at a DPO, a job description or job role within India or anywhere in global. So this is not specific to any country or region. These are specifically the roles and basically the responsibilities or the qualities that a DPO should have if they are working no matter across the globe, wherever it is. So I would go one by one, to explain that what exactly means by these. But these are basically going to be the one. So if you look at the circle, let's start with the first one. First and foremost, the responsibility of a DPO is advise and guide. That's exactly what is expected from a DPO. Business needs a DPO to advise and guide them to be compliant with the respective or applicable privacy legislation or data protection legislation as and when uh, applicable. Now, you need to be mindful that when someone gets knowledge of data privacy or any other legislation in that sense, they get quite knowledgeable. They get equipped with quite a lot of phrases which are really difficult to understand by common people across the business who are not that frequent with phrases and stuff. So a DPO need to be mindful when advising and guiding maybe technology people or maybe operational people. They need to ensure that they use less jargon. What I personally recommend while advising and guiding, go on with a story. Story, it helps a lot to go ahead and explain what you are actually trying to establish or what you are exactly trying to explain to people, rather than using sections and other stuff. So advice and guidance is the first and foremost responsibility of a DPO, a data protection officer. The next one is grievance. I believe you all have now seen this within within the Digital Personal Data Protection Bill 2022, that there is a particular section mentioned as grievance, and the initial turnaround time or the acknowledgement time is 7 days. Now, the grievance is one of the major responsibilities for DPO. In most of the consent or in most of the privacy policies or in most of the HR policies, it has to end with a point of contact if people have concern or query that how we are using their data, how long we are keeping it, what are the data we are holding, how we are processing it, whom we are transferring the data, all sort of these kind of queries, they should be redirected to the DPO. So that's exactly what grievance means. So a DPO has to be equipped with the knowledge of handling grievance, because in a demographic like us, grievance is a big challenge, and the right to raise grievance or these kind of requests are not only limited to the current employees. Sometimes ex-employees can go ahead and raise that too. So yes, one of the major responsibility of a data DPO is handling grievance. Then comes subject access request or data subject access request. Now, we have seen in our earlier sessions, there are technology giants or privacy solution provider who are in the market, who are developing brilliant DSRs or SARs tool to making the life easy. But by the end of the day, a DPO has to be on the top of all the DSR requests that is coming in. A DPO need to keep a check how many requests are coming. If the DPO is handling more than one region, then they need to understand that which are the region that are contributing the most towards DSAR request, what kind of requests are coming, if we can go ahead and get them automated in some way or the other, or all these good things. And they have to report the number by the end of the day, as and when required by their company policies or by the supervising authority. And this DSAR will be completely led by the DPO. For example, in GDPR, we know the GDPR gives a particular DSAR timeline. However, as I was mentioning, I think in the last call or last to last call, we have seen recently in Indonesia, personal data protection bill or personal data protection law is clearly came up with a DSAR timeline of 72 hours. That's basically 3 days. It's not a turnaround time, it's actually the completion time. So these are the things which a DPO need to own and need to feed back to the team who process DSARs or the the people who are actually behind the tool, if any tool has been implemented for DSAR for the organization. So yeah, DSAR is one of the major responsibilities with DPO. Definitely risk management. I would definitely not like to stress on that, but yeah, every organization have risks documented, signed, accepted, approved. So these risks, especially which one is related to data that need to be managed, owned and managed by the respective DPO of that particular country or the region. The next one is really interesting. I've mentioned here POC, point of contact. However, you can say the relationship. So that's basically keeping a relationship or bridge with the supervising authority, and that really helps, or that makes life really easy when you are in a confusion and would like to go ahead and get things clarified and stuff. So yes, at DPO's, one of the DPO's responsibility is to establish and maintain some professional and good relationship with the supervising authority. So in India, it would be, as of now, it would be certain. In future, it's gonna be the Data Protection Board of India, as per the last Digital Data Protection Bill 2022. In the UK, it's ICO, maintain quite a good relationship with them. In other jurisdiction, for example, in Malaysia, you have to submit a report on a yearly basis to the informations commissioner or the particular regulator, and then they go ahead and publish a particular journal with all the good things that the organizations are doing, what the stuff's being delivered, and all these things. So yes, the DPO would be the phase where the supervising authority would be getting in touch, and a DPO is responsible to maintain the relationship, or as a point of contact, maintain the good relationship with the supervising authority. Then the privacy framework management. When we talk about privacy framework, again, there are giants in the market. To name one, the only one comes in my mind at an international player is DCAM. DCAM is really leading in the international level for privacy framework management. But yes, a DPO need to decide that which framework fits in his or her jurisdiction. So, for example, if you are a DPO for India, or if you're a DPO for China or any other country, you need to go through the requirement in the legislation or in the data protection law that you have in place, and then you have to mold or implement your privacy framework accordingly and manage it end to end. So a DPO manages end-to-end privacy framework within his or her jurisdiction or country. Definitely, the next one is best practices. Look, I always say and recommend there is no point of knowing things if you're not sharing with people. I can't just learn and just keep it with myself and don't share with people, because then learning doesn't get that value. So it's always important for a DPO to share best practices when and where possible, and get to know the best practices which industry is following. And why this is important? This is important because a DPO, it's not possible for a DPO to know everything. Okay, there are things which the DPO is not aware of, and they also need support at times. Sharing best practices, or coming into a forum and brainstorm and debate, 4 to 5 people debate on a call, or on a group, that really helps. That really helps in idea coming out, and put your point forward, and a DPO gets ready whenever they get to the next stage, to maybe to the supervising authority, or to the management, or to the board. They can use that experience and put the case forward accordingly. So sharing and learning best practices is one of the crucial responsibility of a DPO. Unfortunately, you won't get these point in any professional certification training. People quite don't talk about these things, but this is really, really important. When it comes to breach communication, a DPO has to, I would not say, I would go ahead and write a comms. There are teams who write comms, but a DPO need to lead and um, help the communications team to ensure that the breach comms are written in a proper way, which followed by the assurance to people, and people don't get panic if we are sending any comms to them. also, along with the DPO's responsibilities, where it is needed to inform the data subject or their data principals about any kind of breach notification, the comms should go within the timeline so that we comply with the respective legislations. Then comes control management. So he spoke about privacy framework management 2 dots back. Now, part of privacy framework, you're definitely going to have certain control, and part of DPO's responsibility is to check or check and report back if the controls are functioning or working properly or not. Now, in some organizations, the reporting happen on a yearly basis, some goes half yearly basis, some goes quarterly basis. And this report gets submitted to the highest level of management wherever the DPO is based. So for example, if the DPO is based in India in a multinational company, then the DPO has to validate all the controls and have to submit a control management report to the top boss of the India management or top boss in the global management to demonstrate and keep a record that yes, the controls are working properly. So in case if anything goes wrong, then that will not be considered a failure from a DPO standpoint, because we have already verified the control and either they are working properly or we have already called out something similar. Now, the next one would be incident management. Now, again, we have seen this in our Digital Data Protection Bill 2022. The incident management has been mentioned over there too. Now, what is incident management? So every organization have a incident team who either triage incident or investigate incident and stuff like that. Now, these are mostly either the security or the data team. However, a DPO is the sole point of contact for any regional, when it comes to any regional investigation, because the DPO is the person who have the knowledge, who have the experience of the local legislation and applicability of the law within the jurisdiction. For example, if I'm a DPO of India, I know the most what are the requirements in India, what could be considered as a failure within India, and what is not a failure within India. So a DPO has to be an active part in incident management process, because if any incident comes from India, or maybe the DPO belongs to China, any incident comes from China, then the incident might or the incident will be assigned to the DPO to deal, because they are the expert within that particular area. So yes, this is one of the responsibilities that falls within the DPO to help, support, or lead in incident and manage it end-to-end management for their respective jurisdiction. Again, comes to compliance management. When we are talking about compliance management, so it might strike that we just spoke about control. Now, what is compliance? So compliance management is basically a DPO. I would say it's mandate. People might not agree with that. However, it's completely fine with me. But I would recommend that if you are a DPO, you should have a compliance plan, or you might say in other words, an audit plan. Okay, just to ensure that you are testing control that's perfect. You have a framework that is perfect, but just ensure that your compliance is working perfectly, or you have no recommendation, or if you have any recommendation in regards to compliance with their existing policy and procedure, that's being passed on to the respective team in a proper way. So that's exactly have to be owned by the DPO in regards to compliance management. The next one, DPIA, PIA, we heard it a lot. Data privacy impact assessment or privacy impact assessment. What is the role of a DPO in a DPIA or PIA? The role of a DPO is, they have to review and sign off each and every DPIA and PIA which involves personal data, processing of personal data, and yes, that is the last step a DPIA or PIA have got, that you need to ensure that you are compliant and to all the applicable policies, applicable legislation, and then the final sign off goes from the DPO for all the DPIA and PIA. Without DPO sign off, a DPIA or PIA cannot be complete unless it's a very low risk one. Then the awareness bit. Now, if I look from the beginning, from advice till DPIA or PIA, you really cannot go ahead and perform any one of these properly if your people are not aware of there is a DPO, there is a process, or there is something called PIA or DPIA. There is something called, we have a privacy framework to follow, what to do when there is a potential data incident or potential data breach. I think this is a risk. What should we do? Now, if people are not aware of these things, then none of these responsibilities can be fulfilled by a DPO. So the last and the most important responsibility of a DPO is awareness. And this is where, um, this is where we have seen GDPR was really stressed on the DPO role, that awareness should be a key part. But I would say, you know, if you are joining as a DPO for the very first time within an organization, the first thing you should look for or you should work on amongst all this dot is the last one, awareness. Start with awareness, because unless and until you start with awareness, people will not be aware of that there's a DPO in my organization. And that's the main important part. Everyone should know that there is a DPO whom I can go for any queries, any concern, any grievance, or any stuff. So yeah, awareness is the key. And we know with awareness, we can, what we can do with awareness, and that we have already seen, and as successfully demonstrated by Dr. Lime, who is there on the call. So awareness is the key. And this is one of the major responsibilities of a DPO. Now, quite often people ask that what the DPO should be equipped with. Now, these are the responsibilities. Now, to perform these responsibilities, what are the skills a DPO should have? So first, to start with, a DPO should have an operational knowledge. Now, you might think, why a DPO needs operational knowledge? It's not operation, it's privacy. The logic behind suggesting operational knowledge is, unless a DPO understands the business, they'll not be able to help and support the business. So a DPO should have operational knowledge so that can work together to go ahead and help the operations. A DPO should not be seen as a roadblock. A DPO should not be seen standing with a stick. Rather, a DPO should be seen as a helpful person, or what we call a guide dog, rather, where people will be open to approach. So operational knowledge, a DPO should be equipped with. Stakeholder management, maybe internal, maybe external. Internally, definitely, the stakeholders in other departments, and externally, your supervising authorities. So a DPO should be equipped with stakeholder management quite well. Priority management, as you can see the dots, there are many dots at the left-hand side of your screen. If you are not prioritizing these dots, then you might ended up with a mess. So you have to, a DPO have to be equipped with priority management, that which one I should go first out of these dots, which one second, which one third. And that's what it's important for a DPO. Horizon scanning, a DPO have to spend some time on a weekly basis. And I repeat it, weekly basis for horizon scanning. The data privacy space is changing very fast. You all know better than me how fast it is changing. And it is not possible to keep a track what is happening within which country, especially when you are handling 30 or 32 countries together. So you have to dedicate some time, per week to go get into horizon scanning, look for opportunities, get into news, read news, newsletter, whatever is coming on your mailbox or whatever available in the internet, to get to know that if there is any change or update or any addition happening within your jurisdiction, and you can deal it accordingly. A DPO has to be people oriented. I won't say by the people, for the people, of the people, but I would definitely say, for the people. A DPO has to be people oriented. I have seen in my experience in recent past that if you make things personal or relate things personally, that works the best. So unless a DPO is people oriented, as I said, you can't be a DPO with a stick in your hand. Yes, you might have to take the stick at times, but you should not be holding that all the time. A DPO should be seen as guide dog, a friend, where people will come, speak to you, you will guide and support. So people oriented should be a quality for a DPO. A change agent, a DPO should be open to change. The reason, yes, the reason is you performed a gap assessment for the Personal Data Protection Bill 2019, then you changed it in 2021, you prepared a new gap assessment, you have to scrap it in the middle of 2022, then you have to prepare another gap assessment at the end of 2022 with the Digital Personal Data Protection Bill. So this is change, okay? DPO have to be open to change. You need to understand that the space is changing, the space is still evolving, and I'm not sure if it's going to be stable anytime near future. I don't see it happening. So I can see a DPO will be within multiple projects any point of time during the year. So yes, DPO has to be open to change and a change agent. It's better if they learn a little bit of change management or some basic foundation course just to understand how change impact and how it works. Learning, yes, this is something I personally recommend. A DPO has to be an active learner. If I am thinking that a DPO is a privacy guy, should stick to the courses like anything like GDPR, anything like PDPP, or any other courses. That's a very wrong perception, which I am thinking. The reason being, if you're handling PIAs or DPIAs for new technology, you might be dealing a PIA which is talking about AI. You might be dealing with a PIA which is talk about data science. You might be dealing with a PIA which is talking about some kind of cloud computing. So DPO has to be an active learner. To review a PIA, it might take nights or weeks of learning just to understand what is the development happening, or what is the issue that is asking for your approval. So yes, a DPO need to be an active learner. It is not that you cleared a exam or a certification and you are done. I'm sorry to say that doesn't work with me, and with my friends in this industry or in this role, what I have found. So a DPO have to be an active learner. On-field agent, sitting in a cabin or sitting at a bench or at an office and a table, um, putting down headset, getting into calls. I'm sorry, that's not a DPO life. A DPO has to be on the field. A DPO has to be conducting floor walks to ensure that everything is fine. People are complying with the policy. You might think this is a job of security, but not. A data classification still falls under a DPO's remit. Um, a DPO, as a DPO, you might also want to check, out of hours, like when people left the office, what they left on their desk unattended, maybe, files, folder, passwords written on stuff and other stuff. So yeah, a DPO has to be a field agent. And, I would recommend, if you are a DPO, go out, you know, gel with people, talk to people, then only you will be able to understand and share your knowledge and understand what are the challenges in this space. And the last but not the least, a DPO has to be a great educator or presenter. As I said at the beginning, when you are advising and guidance, when you are providing advice and guidance, which is one of the major responsibility of DPO, don't use jargon. Go with the story, and that's actually um, the indication of a great educator or a presenter. Uh, don't tell people as per article this, as per article that, because that might be, that might be the frequency of people like your level of knowledge can understand, but other people might get scared. So tell them something which they understand. And this is something I have learned quite a lot from Navi sir as well as Dr. Lime, that being a being a legal professional, they keep things really simple, and this is exactly what is expected. What is expected out of a DPO. Before I move to the next slide, anyone have any questions from this slide?
A small question, Anirban sir.
Yes, please.
Can you share any moment which you thought was very difficult to handle as a DPO in your span? Any incident, any moment you can recall that this was the toughest moment you handled as an DPO?
Yeah, I have one. Um, so like yesterday on the group there was an ask for a data transfer. A similar ask came from one of my friend, UK based friend. Uh, we work in the same company, I mean within the same organization, who talks about a situation and ask for my advice. So the situation is basically a company based in India. Um, a company based in India accepting job applications for 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 UK based professionals. Okay, and they are getting applications like CVs for hundreds or 200s or 300 for a single job. Now, the first stage of any job reviewer is to CV matching, or matching the skills available on the CV along with the job description. And the hiring manager has to go through 300 CV so that he or she is compliant or doing justice with all the candidate. A solution being developed where an AI will read all the CVs in 30 seconds and will rank the CV with the score. So for example, if you need A, B, and C as a skill, and each of them holding 10 points, if any CV have all three of them, then the CV will be ranked as 1 and scored 30. If any CV have A and B, then that will be scored second with score 20. This PIA or impact assessment took 3 weeks of my time. The reason it took 3 weeks of my time, because it was a direct violation of automated decision making, solely automated decision making. And when I got this particular request to review, though it should not be falling with me, but when I received this request, it was really difficult to me. And at the first look, it looks like it's not possible. This solution cannot go live because this is a direct violation of GDPR. But after 3 weeks of investment, and that's where I mentioned that an active learner, after 3 weeks of speaking to people, reading articles, reading example, it finally came out that yes, it is possible, because this is not solely automated decision making, because that is the first stage in hiring. And there are many stages later on which will be done by human, like interview, reviewing score, sending the invite and stuff like that. This is just something, one stage that is getting automated and making life easy. And this is doing more justice to the candidate, because a human might miss reading one CV, but the AI will not. It's actually helping the candidates than anything. So yeah, thanks for asking, but yes, these kind of scenarios are quite common. And on this line, this is what exactly I captured in the next slide, because people will think that I want to be a DPO, but what do I need actually? So I know what are the job description, what are the skills required, but what it's practically mean, how to get all these stuffs. So this is a website where I saw a very, very interesting line. As you can see, the appointment of a DPO must of course be based on her personal and professional qualities, but particular attention must be paid to her expert knowledge of data protection. Now, knowledge is the word that's really important here. A good understanding of the way the organization operates is also recommended. Now, nowadays, if you go to LinkedIn, if you look at people's name, you will see name. After that, you will see, XYZ, the degrees or the certification which the person is holding. I'm not talking about professional, I'm not talking about educational degrees, I'm talking about professional degrees, like mm, mm, like CIPP, CIPM, stuff like that. That really doesn't guarantee that the person have the knowledge. I'm not saying complete knowledge. What I'm saying is practical knowledge. You can learn from a book, you can pass an exam, but after that, if you put in a DPO position, you are going to be in a little bit, uncomfortable situation. And that's exactly what I mentioned in the requirement. So definitely the knowledge along with the certification is important. But while going to certification, you need to be mindful that you are gaining the knowledge, especially practical knowledge. When I become, when I came into FDPPI and started talking to the experts, especially to Navi sir, I have learned a lot from him in last 12 months, a lot. And people like him, we need people like him to mentor people like me so that we can learn, we can gain knowledge. Certification you can get, that's not a problem. But number two, what I mentioned in the slide, that every person in this call or whoever are watching it, this recording later on, they need to be mindful. You got appointed as a DPO, as a fresher, passed out multiple certification and you're appointed as a DPO. And you got a tough situation. Who is going to support you in that situation? Because you need to be mindful, in the entire organization, you are the only person who have the knowledge of privacy, of data privacy. There is no go-to person for you there. So if you are a contact center agent, you are facing difficulty, you can go to your manager or team leader, what you say. The team leader is not able to resolve, you can go to manager. Manager not able to resolve, you can go to senior manager. But if a DPO needs support on job and real time, there is no one to support a DPO. If you are basically a single country based organization, very few people are blessed with working with MNCs as a DPO, where they have various teams to support various other DPOs in other region and stuff. But anyone who got appointed, we have seen recently a big giant bank in India published DPO role, 2 DPOs, head DPO and assistant DPO, 3 or 4 weeks back. Now you need to be mindful, in this entire bank, which is a national level bank having thousands of branches, there are only 2 people who got knowledge of privacy. So who is going to support them when they need real-time support? The answer of this question is FDPPI. This is what we do. This is what we support each other. We are there to, support each other's back. And the best thing is we don't charge for consulting, advice, and guide. For point number 1, I would like to bring on screen Ramesh shortly. But first, I want to know if anyone have any more questions for me before I hand it over to Ramesh.
Anirban, this is Harish.
Yes, Harish.
By looking at this DPO responsibilities and what all he has to be equipped, it is very much similar to a CISO. And the only difference is CISO has to be from the perspective of a security, whereas DPO from the perspective of security plus privacy. It's like a superset. Okay, have you got a chance to work along with a CISO? What are the conflict of interest comes? Any such things have happened in your journey of this DPO as a DPO?
Fine. There's a saying in the IAPP book I have seen when I was studying CIPPE. It says that you can have security without data privacy, but you cannot have data privacy without security. So the roles and responsibilities might look similar, but the domain are completely different. I'll give you an example. So just imagine you are working as a CISO and you got an incident that an employee is absconding for 2 months, and he or she is still holding the company asset with all the access in place. So as a CISO, you will definitely go ahead and instruct the team to revoke all the access, and you will refer the case to DPO to know if that need to be reported to any supervising authority from data standpoint. So as a DPO, I'll pick it up. I will see what are the risks from a data standpoint. I'm looking at from a data standpoint. I'm not looking at how to do the asset recovery, how to get the cost, if I need to involve police and not, because that is part of CISO's job. That's exactly what Chief Information Security Officer does. My job is just to check if the data is secure, If not, if anything happened, I need to ensure that being reported to the supervising authority within time. And if we are not reporting it within time, then if there is any fine payable, I need to check and get the budget and submit that fine. So yes, security in a nutshell can be standalone, but data privacy cannot be there without security. So yes, I do have a CISO. He is a very close friend of mine, and we work together quite well. And we don't cross our path because it never happened. So not every incident come to me. I only get where data need to be checked. Hope this helps.
Okay, thank you.
No worries. Any other question from anyone? Okay, Ramesh, over to you. I can take up any question at the end.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I'll share my screen. Right? So before I move to we talked about this to be up.
Ramesh, you are breaking up. Your voice is breaking.
Now?
Yeah, now it's good.
Yeah. So this is the certificate what Mr. Subraidu was trying to show as part of the data protection data. Anirban sir has already shared. Most of it. Thank you very much. Go ahead. A second, Anirban sir talked about that the skills and the competencies required form the role of a DPO. There are lots of courses available in the market, as we know, but we all know, right? FDPPI, a kind of organization with Master Navi's idea. We are spearheading lots of initiatives, and Janavadhan is one, obviously. Along with that, we also have a formal certificate run by FDPPI. So, for you, so go to the certification page. So each one, the data protection compliance management consultant. We have multiple courses here, one module I, two module G course. I'll just explain you what is this is all about. So if here module talks about law. Typically, we used to have this program with the PDPB 2019, and whatever the concepts of 2018, the upgraded version, and to the latest one is already being updated. One thing I can assure you, knowing Mr. Navi personally for the last 2.5 3 years, the moment any new regulation, new comes, you will be seeing at least 24 hours. There will be a blog, there will be updation on the course material, etc. That's why you could see here the released part here, and what exactly the coverage is each. If you see, full-fledged, the bill would get covered as part of this module I. Module G stands for global law. So when we talk about Indian being an Indian organization, and we are all from India, so what is that our bill is talking about? And the data protection to have a global, privacy regulations of that knowledge. Predominantly, you and me know in the call, it starts with the GDPR. So it's a very full-fledged course which we talk about all 99 articles with the case studies. In fact, in one of the program, I remember 1.5 years back when I was part of this lecturing along with the Sunavi. In fact, we brought some SMEs too to talk about the case studies. So we are General Data Protection from European Union, TCP, California Consumer Privacy Act, and New York, California Regulatory Privacy Act, if I'm CR, Singapore PDP Data Protection Act of Singapore and DIR, and of course we have Health Insurance Portable and Accountable Act talks about, as you know, security rule as well as the privacy rule. So this is the module. Be with me, because I had gone through this course by myself before I'm a trainer for FTPPI. This 5 probably will give kind of flavor to any other law. Okay. Now I also keep tracking whether it is or whether it is, you know, Brazilian law, etc., etc. Many of the things are from this many 5. That's why we wanted, in fact, thinking of adding Australian privacy to cover that region to the time APP 1990. So this one obviously would help me in the applicability part, cross-border the by to data controller. Then obviously the revolves on that regulation with respect to the data subject right. These are all the main components. Then we talk about the data protection impact assessment. We talk about the cross-border, we already said so, penalty and what is involved. So it's a shared program. And the last one is, obviously, this one I doubt whether everybody is talking about.
Ramesh, you please refresh the G module. G module, you please refresh.
Yes, don't say as I.
Just refresh, control refresh.
This is the one.
That's one. It comes as CPRA.
Here, correct. California Privatization Act. You are right. You are right. That's why I was wondering what is CR. Great.
Okay.
Team, all of you in the call, please. This is a real-time experience with Mr. Navi. Quick, he is quick enough. We will be having an updated information. So it is a CPA California Privacy. Now it's called the CPRA California Privacy Act 2023. Beautiful, which came in force from
January 23rd, I think.
Yes, absolutely. 1st of January. So, idea is that even in the Telegram, I'm sure most of you would have been the subscribers, as Mr. Dr. Anirban said somewhere, knowledge sharing. Knowledge sharing is the key. All the subject matter experts relentlessly, right? They are sharing the latest one coming up, whether it is with respect to any of the changes in the law itself or any kind of new breach happened, which would be like a case study for us. What may go wrong and handle it. For the adaptation. Third is important module A or audit module, what we call as the unique idea of data auditor, and the data audits need to be performed at least once a year annually for the significant data fiduciaries for requirement of the PDPB, and hence we floated this. And as we all are familiar with the different types of audits, whether it's a management audit, whether it's a compliance audit, whether it's a technical review audit for an network audit, etc., etc. It is purely different, As Mr. Harish had asked, what is the difference between CISO and a DPO? Obviously, audit, what is the difference between a management system audit and data audit? The perspective and the focus in which we are trying to see here, the focus is on the data subject, focus is his privacy, the focus is on the obligations of the controller or a processor and so on. We beautifully found this and we conducted very nicely this course. And please go through it. If you see here, even about the data standards of India, I really wanted to touch upon this because every regulation talks about own requirements and etc. So if you're an organization, you are implementing, let's say, GDPR to HIPAA to etc. I'm in the kind of situation today, wherein we being European organization, so GDPR by default, and some of our products are marketed in the US market. Obviously, we need DA as well as your HIPAA. HIPAA is mainly from the privacy perspective. So now, if multiple laws which need that within an organization, what kind of framework would be adaptable to you? Even if you're looking at a DPIA, how to do it and so on. So that's where it's Navi's brain slide again. Data of India, which we call renamed it as Data Protection Compliance System. He was talking about adhering to compliance word coming, and then they kind of that point I still remember mapped it to the 99 articles of GDPR to 163 controls. That time the combination of 27701 controls beautifully we mapped it, and system framework came in existence, right? So applications to go out somewhere, you don't have to go out. I'm not trying to sell, no way. Very honest and humble, gone through the courses with Mr. Navi. In fact, before I took GDPR, I had attended and I had cleared the exam. Then only I become winner for FTPI. So, real case study, real knowledge would be the last one from my side is that we have also launched a course on DPO, combining all three modules talked about. So the point here, you want to become kind of focused only with I course, please go. You want to become familiar with the global, with the coverage of all what I talked about, please go. You want to read the audit module, how to audit or what is the difference here, please do so. Or the combination of all the three we talk about, the data protection officer course from our FDPPI. And mainly, as you know, many of the topics, almost 60 to 70% of the coverage is given by Mr. Navi. So more interesting to listen to his experience and etc. So if any of you are new in the call, we will appreciate it. Otherwise, I'm sure that all of us know about this particular topic. Any specific question on certifications offered by FDPPI? I covered everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just I wanted to add to those of you who might not have been with FTPPI over the last 3 years. This 3-module course towards becoming a DPO came into being because of 2 reasons. One, historically, we first introduced the Indian model because that was something on which there was no knowledge in India. There are people who knew GDPR, but they did not know about the Indian law. So we introduced module I, then added module G so that the legal module will be complete. And in module G, we wanted to go a little beyond what CIPP and others were doing, in the sense that we wanted to add multiple countries in one single program, so that a DPO in India will be having some idea about the different kinds of laws which are prevalent in relevant countries. Apart from EU, we added the California, we added Singapore, and later on DIFC and Brazil. And we also added HIPAA because HIPAA has some unique features because of the way the sectoral law has been approached. So if you look at the module G, there are several global issues which are being covered. Then this audit module we have developed because after knowing the data protection laws, in terms of application, the DPO should have been exposed to data audit skills, which are different from other kinds of financial audit and other things. And in India, we also looked at the data auditor as an independent profession. See, data protection officer is an employment. Data auditor is an entrepreneurial professional, you can say, vocation. So we wanted to cover both, and therefore we added this module A. Of course, my idea was to add 2 more modules, which we have not fully done because on the technology related to privacy, like discussing the tools and other things, which we are trying to supplement through our Jnanavardhini sessions. We also wanted to have a behavioral skills training included here. That also a few things we tried to cover in the Jnanavardhini, but these two are things which we may try to add at some point of time in future. But as it is, the knowledge of law and the audit is a fairly good, you can say, preparation for a professional to be a data protection officer. There have been occasions when people are asking, in fact, how does our training compare with CIPP and others? I think there are some of you who have attended both our program and the CIPP program. I think Anirban has not attended our program, but there must be others like, I don't know whether Prakash should be one of the persons, is K. Prakash.
Sir, Avi sir, I think Mr. Subraidu, he is in the call. I think he has recently attended few courses outside also.
Yeah.
Correct, no, Subraidu?
Yes.
You can share your experience, in fact.
So,
yeah.
apart from them, so those are the people who have to tell us. My personal focus has been to focus on India DPO. There's a person who is operating in India as a DPO who may be exposed to GDPR because his company is a data processor most of the time, or a joint data controller most of the time, much more than being the full-fledged data controller. Of course, MNCs could be data controllers in their own capacity, but most of the other SME kind of a sector, they will be mostly data processors. And so our focus was on India-specific professional, and we have tried to do what best we could do. Hopefully now Subraidu can perhaps share some of his thoughts. Some of you have, of course, attended the examination of our certification program and also the examination of CIPP. Maybe Subraidu can also say a few words on that. Subraidu.
Yes. See, I think my focus is very clear. If you want knowledge, you come to FDPI. If you want internationally recognized, you want to brag, you go to IAPP. Simple. Okay. Because it's an internationally recognized or something. But yes, having said that, the test, I think IAPP's test has comes at its own level of difficulty, and if DPPI test has its own level of difficulty, you probe more on practical situation, the scenario-based kind of a thing, right? Yeah, see, my purpose of doing it is because I'm focused on US SOC certification, being a CPA and all. So I felt CAPP US is useful. In terms of course content, CAPP US had some things which FDPPA did not have, the US Constitution, the US legal structure, state versus federal laws, and all those things, which are also useful for me. But yes, sir, the kind of knowledge sharing and these weekly interactions and all those things, that is knowledge is you'll get at FDPPA only. I'll take the Mahabharata example. Navi sir is Bhishma Pitama of privacy. You have other Arjuns and Karnas and Abhimanyus around in the country, but that distinction between a Bhishma Pitama and the Abhimanyus, you'll have to keep in mind.
Yeah, thank you. So anyway, that is about our training programs. And presently, say in the Indian scenario, we were confronted with a great challenge because the government of India kept on changing the law. Okay, though on the base of it, ITA 2000 was there. We had PDPA 2018, 2019, DPA 2021, and now the DPB 2022. This was a very unique situation. So what we did was, whoever had underwent one program, when the bill was finalized, we gave them a free access to the first program which we conducted.
Sir, you are sharing your screen, Ramesh sir. Sorry.
New regime. Similarly, even now, what we have promised is that those who complete the program as of now, which is based earlier on DPA 2021 and upgraded to cover DPB 2022. That is as far as the Indian thing is concerned. We are saying that suppose in the month of February or March, the government passes the bill and then makes some few changes, and also perhaps they will come up with some 5-6 notifications on the day one. We will be conducting a bridging program so that people who have taken the program earlier will not be at a loss when things change. So that is one thing which we are doing. We are doing it because we can do it. Other organizations will find it difficult to give you a second free program or something like that, but we are trying to do that. I think that is also something which people who are taking a thought that why should I take it now? What happens after 3 months if the law is changed and so on? Those questions we are answering by saying that your investment in the program today is not going to be a waste. In fact, I now see that other organizations in India who are into privacy are also now trying to get into the training the way we are trying to do, instead of endlessly waiting for the act to be passed, because the principles of privacy and data protection is unlikely to change even if a few sections here and there are tinkered with. So that is how we are looking at it. And as Ramesh mentioned, we are supplementing the lessons with what we discuss in our Telegram group or in navi.org, where I try to discuss some of the latest things. So we are trying to provide a complete feel of the data protection requirements or skill requirements of the data protection officer to the extent it is possible. I am sure that some of the people who later on got jobs based on these things, and in fact many people pass CIPP examination after doing these things, will definitely vote that they were benefited by the knowledge transfer. So I think we will focus on that until a time when industry will start recognizing that the brand FDPPI should be more valuable in terms of the skill requirements of their employees. So it could be national Indian companies and even international companies today are perhaps looking at it. In fact, one of the persons told me that in an interview, when FDPPI certificate was shown, that the interviewer from abroad was having some positive vibes on FDPPI. So probably it is slowly getting known. And as we go further in future, if all of you contribute, we will definitely make things better. In fact, we are thinking of one physical program also, like the program which we conducted with the DNV, that is the DPO program, where all the 3 modules were bundled into one program. We are thinking of having one such program if possible in Bangalore, but that cannot happen before the government finalizes the Indian law. So until that time, we are going to have this virtual module. After India passes the law, we may try to have a 3-day program. I have already discussed this with some people. So in 3 days of physical program, we try to cover most of the things which we are presently covering in overseas. Nearly, I think, 45 hours of recorded videos which we are having. We want to actually cover it within 3 days, which will be only 18 hours. But still, I think on a physical plane, it will be difficult to have a 6-day program or something like that. So we are likely to have one such program in Bangalore as soon as the government comes up with the new act, because other things on the global module, more or less, we will be ready. The module I, if it changes, parts of module A will also change. So We don't want to do a physical program until we are certain about the government's views. Government is also now thinking of making modifications to the Information Technology Act itself, which is currently the Data Protection Act of India under Section 43 capital A. So when they come up with a Digital India Act, a draft is expected very soon. We may have to incorporate that into our trainings, because I have always held that due diligence requires implementing the legislative intent of a country to the extent possible. And therefore, if government comes up with a Digital India Act, or it is presently having a bill called DPB 2022, they all become part of due diligence which a prudent organization needs to take into account. So let us wait for that. We don't know. According to people in our Delhi office, most of them say government will take its own time. They will not do it in this budget session. I don't know. But if it comes, definitely we will be trying to structure a physical program, and then maybe some professionals may like that. It will have to be compressed program compared to what we are doing now. What we are doing now is much broader program. So I think that is the approach we will have for training. At the end of it, if somebody goes into a company and becomes a DPO, the company should feel that there is a person with a certain knowledge base. Certificate by just a name is not that important. The CEO or whoever is the person to whom this person reports, he should feel that here is a person who can be relied upon when it comes to data protection. So that is my idea. Maybe the others who will be carrying on the programs of FDPPI subsequently, including people like Ramesh or Subraidu and others, so will have to carry through this philosophy as FDPPI moves into 2023. That is what I wanted to add to what Ramesh was telling. Okay.
Great, Navi sir. There is a question from, I think, Mr. Naresh raised a hand. Naresh sir, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Navi sir. So I have recently become a member of FDPPI, and I'm currently working in Concentrix. So I had a doubt that when it comes to certifications, so the module G, suppose I've taken. So in that case, the material which is there in the videos. So when the test is there, so I want to know whether the updated dot in today's on today's date, whether that law will be coming in the tests, or the material which is there as the training material in those videos, are the test is going to be from that material only, or it's going to be from the updated law. So
as of now, basically the test covers the material which is presently there, but most of the questions could be problem-based questions. So that interpretation may change. As I told you also that in GDPR, the basic law has not changed at all. Now, there are certain EDPB guidelines which have come, which adds to the interpretation, or some case clause may be there. So that will apply even to the problems which are there in the question form at this point of time. The knowledge which is there in the material which has been supplied, we are giving both the written material as well as the videos. Okay, written material is quite massive in terms of these global laws, because the acts of each of these countries were also there. And now CCPA has to be read along with this CPRA, so that we need to add as a supplementary program. I think we did discuss CPRA in one of the JVS sessions. Ramesh only, I think, handled it. But we will have to add that. Rest of the things, I don't think there will be much of a change. You should be able to get through these examinations based on the written material. And our evaluation is also based on certain relative evaluation. So if say 20 persons are taking the test, now all of them are exposed to the same kind of, let us say, the material, your performance will be evaluated against those 20 people. And therefore, these things, differences will even out. Yeah.
Right, sir. I understand. Thank you so much, Navi, sir.
Thank you. See, this particular field is so dynamic that even with somebody like me trying to work on it every day, updation is not so easy. Okay.
I totally
Things will
agree.
change every day. Okay. One new supervisory authority, this thing comes. Suddenly we can discuss it in a different manner. Okay, it's not like a precise answers in a technical examination. Perhaps you will be having precise answers. It will not change for another few years. But in legal aspects, particularly where there is an interpretation, there will be changes, and that is where, of course, we are trying to do our best, and we want people to develop that analytical skills. Once you pick up that skill, then even if they change CCPA to CPRA, or India changes from PDPB to something else, you will feel very comfortable in migrating to the new law. If you try to study a law from in the normal, say, college kind of an environment where it is very specific to a particular thing, then migrating to a new law will be difficult. But I think what we are trying to do is to focus more on concepts. Even questions are also mostly on concepts. I don't think there is any single question which will say, what does Article 25 say, or something like that. We don't have any such memory-based this thing. And now after ChatGPT, I don't know, we have to actually revise our examination system itself. Okay, but I think since our examinations are presently not memory-based, even ChatGPT may only have very little impact on the particular questions. But
Navi sir.
Yeah, it is in my mind now that after ChatGPT, how to have evaluation which is which can be done without affecting this, and all of you should help me in that. Yeah.
Navi sir, do me a favor, share 5 case studies of our GDPR question with me one-on-one. I will try that with the ChatGPT.
Okay.
I'll come back to you.
Okay.
We'll do the testing.
I think we have one yesterday on the group itself. We can give it a try.
Yeah. One Mr.
And
Shreyas.
Ramesh sir, even the evaluation
Please.
also need to be done by ChatGPT only.
Absolutely. Shreyas, you have a question?
Yeah, thanks.
Are you there?
Yeah. So this is Shreyas
please.
Parvate. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thanks. Hi, Navi sir. So for the group, this is Shreyas Parvate. I work with Tech Mahindra. I have 2 queries. One is regarding the certifications, which should be a quick one. Are they independent of each other, or is there a laddered thing that you have to do one to do the other?
No, actually, they are independent of each other. But we will be, when we discuss the Indian law, we make references to GDPR, which is essential. And when we discuss GDPR, sometimes we also make references to the Indian law. That cross references will be there. Ideally, it is better if it is done as module I, then G, and then A. But if you do G and then take up on module I, there is no issue. But module A should be done only after module I and G are completed. Otherwise, without the basic knowledge of the law, there is nothing to audit. Say, data audit is actually data compliance audit. It is not a technical audit. So when you want to do a data compliance audit, you have to make references to the earlier these things. Of course, we have this DTS model. We have about 280 questions for DTS based on DPCSI, and that itself is a big kind of reference for the students. So module A has to be done after module I and G. Otherwise, module I and G, you can say, are interchangeable.
Right.
Sure, noted, sir. Yeah, thanks. And I have one more, if I can go ahead.
Yeah.
So this is regarding DPO. Either of you can respond, or maybe both of you, Dr. Anirban also. So when we had this presentation, is the DPO role expected to be implementer as well? Mindful of the fact this is about time, I'm trying to keep my question short. Just trying to understand the view from which the DPO presentation is coming.
Yeah, Anirban, what is your view? The DPO cannot say that everybody else implement, I will only check or something like that. In an organization, he has to work closely with others and try to get the implementation, but he will always retain the right to veto the CISO or CTO and say, I'm not able to do it. This is my view. And if Anirban has a different view, he can share.
Exactly, sir. This is what we call privacy by design, what you just said. And yes, DPO has to be a part of the design from the design phase itself.
Yeah.
People have this mindset that let's do it, we'll go to the DPO for approval. That doesn't satisfy privacy by design. What Nabi sir said, since the scratch, if you involve DPO, and that's what I recommend personally to everyone, that involve me from day zero, so that there will be minimum time or minimum update this project need to go through if I be part from day one. Yes. Exactly, sir. You bang on.
Okay.
Yeah, Navi sir, I just want to add a 30 seconds update. And going back to the certificate, this is again the principle what we believe, that everyone has a DPO in the organization. And if you see our certification, I think we refer it to the human firewall, which means that everyone is responsible in the data protection. So I'm glad that the certificate reflects that.
Yeah.
Thanks to Dr. Anirban.
No problem, sir. Thanks
Okay.
to
Any
Navi sir
other
for approval.
any other question, anybody? I think it's almost 30 minutes past of our regular time. If there are no questions, Navi sir, shall we close it? You also have to go.
So I have to leave.
Yes. So I will wind up. Thank you very much, all of you, on behalf of FDPPI and each one of you over here. Would like to thank Dr. Anirban for his excellent presentation and sharing his, I would say, listening from the horse mouth, he being a DPO. I'm sure that each one of us, it will add value to us. And looking forward to have all of you for the next session, going to be on next Wednesday. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening, all of you. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Great day.
Thank you.